All right. So Kyle, question number one. What's your expected graduation date?
May 2020.
May 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So you got 2 years left. That's the spring 2020. So yeah.
Yeah, 2 years in a semester.
Cool. And what are you studying?
Music. I'm actually starting my own major here at UNR, or me and a group of people are. I want to be a recording engineer, so the guy behind the sound booth that mixes all your favorite songs.
And you say you're trying to start that here, and what's the process?
Well, right now there's a new music building being built, like right next to the Virginia Street Gym. So that'll have like a state-of-the-art recording studio and tons of other stuff in it. So the two faculty at the university are in charge of planning all that, and I've stepped up on their committee and like signed petitions. I can't do much since I don't have a lot of influence over the school, but I'm basically just another body trying to push this major forward.
Okay, nice. And so what's like the ultimate, I guess, job then?
My ultimate job is to own my own recording studio somewhere in Southern California. That'd be ideal.
Cool. So Kyle, what attracted you to the student building supervisor position?
Honestly, I just like taking on responsibility. I like having more on my plate because I think it forces me to do better. Because if I fail, more people are affected by it and more severe the consequences are. It's just more of a motivation not to fail.
Okay. And what role do you think the overall fitness and rec sports program has on campus?
Well, I mean, we have that saying, Nevada Fit. I feel like that we do a pretty good job of it, especially because our campus is so hard to walk through anyways. So I think us bringing in all these students here is really like a positive influence, because I know when I get to the gym that day, it's just a better day for me.
Okay.
So.
And were you were here at Lombardi, correct? Were you here?
I got hired at Lombardi, but I didn't start working until like the first week of when it
first open.
Yeah.
First open here. So you've been in this building for a year, or for about a semester.
I guess 2 semesters if you count summer.
Summer, yeah. Nice. And you cashier, correct? You current cashier.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. So what do you think, since your time being here, what do you think some of the responsibilities required of a student building supervisor?
Kind of just overseeing coworkers or peers, making sure they're on task, not sitting at the desk. I know that's a big one. Keeping the facility safe and clean.
Okay. All right. What leadership experience do you have, and what are some traits a good leader should possess?
I mean, when I played rugby, so I played rugby for 4 years in high school, and my second year through 4th year, I was team captain until we switched teams. But and taking that on was a huge thing for me, because that was my first leadership role that I ever had. So it was nice just to be able to guide the team. People look up to me, and people ask me questions about stuff they don't know, which I really enjoy. I kind of like when people ask me questions about policy and stuff here. It's nice because it just shows that I've been doing my job well enough to people to look up to me. And same with any leadership experience, honestly. It's if you do a good job before you're a leader, you're meant to be a leader.
Okay. And like the policy questions, were you referring to like the current building staff employees?
Yeah.
Or like the patrons? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And patrons too.
Cool. So what traits do you think a good leader should possess, or some good traits?
I think they should always have like one ear to the ground, and what I mean by that is just like they should always be aware of their surroundings and like aware of their employees. Like if an employee comes in and they've had a really bad day, I should know about it. I should ask them, hey, is everything okay? I'm obviously not going to have a full-on conversation with them in the back room, but I can check up on them pretty quick and continue to check up throughout the day. I should just be able to know things like that. People should be able to, like I said earlier, people should be able to ask me questions and expect that I either know the answer or can ask someone who does know the answer. And I think those are two of the most important things, but also respect is a huge thing. Like you have to earn the respect of your peers and coworkers. to be the supervisor. Otherwise, you're just gonna get second guessed your entire way through.
Nice. Kyle, how do you manage your time and prioritize tasks?
I like simplicity and I like seeing things. So I have a calendar up in my room, like a month calendar. It has work schedules on it, class schedule in the beginning of the semester when I need to remember it, and like anything I have going on that week, like whether it's stuff in my fraternity or if I'm doing sports that week or if I'm picking up someone's shift, I'll write it down. I just like everything visual and very like organized.
Nice. And you say so you're in a fraternity?
Yeah, I am.
Do you have any like leadership positions in the fraternity?
I have applied for several. That was when I first got in, so it was more just to get my foot in the door. As of right now, I hold a lot of chairmanships, and I've held a lot of chairmanships, which is, I wouldn't say it's a like super leadership role, but it's definitely not just sitting around being in a fraternity. I actually do things to be progressive as much as I can.
Nice. In the event of an accident or injury in the facility, what steps would you take to ensure safety and proper operations of the facility?
I guess that really depends on the accident, what happens. If someone, let's say, breaks an ankle on the basketball court, obviously you get up there, clear everyone away. You can't have them all crowding up. Call EMS first thing. Try to get some ice, take care, make sure he doesn't move. Wait for EMS to get there, calm him down, start talking to him. I was a lifeguard for about 4 years, so I have a lot of experience doing this. A lot of it just comes to talking because their adrenaline is so high at that moment. They're probably not going to feel the full extent of breaking their ankle until they're in the hospital. So if I can just keep them calm and like not moving until EMS gets there, I think everything will turn out okay.
Okay. How would you resolve a conflict between two building staff employees?
Is it like a physical conflict or like an argument?
Yeah, let's say the two building staff employees earlier that week had an issue with one another, and then they worked on like a Saturday, and then the one individual came to you said I'm not working with XY employee.
Well, I mean, obviously the first thing you want to do is separate them. You have like, oh, you stay at the desk. Can you go monitor the third floor? I'll come talk to you separately. And I would like you go and talk to them separately, find out the issue. If they really, really can't work together, I'm not going to send one of them home if they're not doing anything wrong or against policy. So you can just keep them separated for the shift, swap them out at the front desk, have them just doing tasks and stuff. Keep that.
Okay.
I think keep the peace pretty easily that way.
And then a lot of times, we may not see like the conflict may not be between the two student staff employees, but a lot of times we see between an employee and like the supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a situation where you had this one building staff employee in particular, it just they didn't treat you respectfully. They kind of gave you attitude if you asked them to do stuff. How would you handle that the best every time you had to work with that person? How would you?
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously I'm not going to start off strong. You just say, hey, like let's say I want them to go dust mop the track. You say, can you please go dust mop the track? Okay, I have you go dust mop the track. Say, I don't really want to do that. Can you please? I'm asking you to go dust mop the track. Can you please go do that? And if if it keeps carrying on, and if it has to turn into a write-up and sending him home, then that's what it has to be. Obviously, I don't want that. I want him to stay and keep working. But
Okay. Kyle, how do you want to improve yourself in the next year?
in the next year,
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways. One, I'm trying to train for the CrossFit Open, so physically, I want to just improve my strength. And honestly, even if I can complete the workouts in the Open, that's my goal. I'm not aiming to like rank nationally or anything, but I do want to be able to complete all those workouts because that's a huge milestone for me. As far as like academics go, I've been shooting for a 3.0 this semester. I've been getting like a steady 2.5 the past 2 semesters, and I wanna kick that up. Mostly for me, but I know my parents would appreciate it a lot. And obviously I want the supervisor position here. It really helps, honestly, because like I said earlier, I just like having more responsibility. It doesn't, as long as it's not overbearing, but I wouldn't go out and do 7 other clubs if I have a supervisor position. I would like this just to challenge me a little bit more, give me that responsibility. I honestly think it will improve like who I am as a person as well.
Last question that I have for you, Kyle. Can you name someone that you idolize and why in 3 words?
That's my question. I'd have to say my great-grandpa, even though I've only met him a few times and heard his stories a few times. The words, like the 3 words I would use were never gave up. He immigrated from Germany when he was like 16 with little to nothing in his pocket. Ended up at Ellis Island in New York. Hopped on a train, ended up in Chicago, just was a bum for a while, homeless, and then ended up owning his own a general store. And then my family moved out of Chicago because it was just really bad at that time. Ended up in Los Angeles, and I wouldn't be here today if he hadn't just persevered through almost every hardship that there is. Being on the streets in just a horrible city like New York or Chicago is just a bad place to be homeless in. He overcame it, and I'm here today because of it.
Very cool. Kyle, do you have any questions for us at this time?
You said you'd be going over like responsibilities and
Yeah, so
further.
yeah, I can get into that.
Yeah, those are about the only questions I have.
Okay.
Just job details.
Cool. All right.